Mr. Desron Bano, General Manager Digicel, Ms. Anne Price, Director Red Cross, Ms. Latoya Hobbs-Nurse, Gender Affairs Coordinator, Dr. Ronya Foy-Connor, President Hats and Heels, Ms. Jade Raymond Richardson, President S.A.F.E, Ms. Geneva Hodge, MOU referral partners, heads of departments, representatives of media houses, first responders, S.A.F.E executive board members, ladies, gentlemen, supporters, a warm welcome. Today marks a milestone event, the S.A.F.E Hotline Press Conference. This is perfectly placed for execution during what is presently Women's Week. As your chair, Angelina Carty, I have the distinct pleasure and responsibility of guiding this morning's event in a timely manner. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce our first presenter as built on the program to do welcome remarks. Two fabulous women. So first up, please receive President of Hats and Heels, Ms. Jade Raymond Richardson.
It always seems impossible until it's done, Nelson Mandela. In an ideal world, the road from an idea to reality is proven and predictable, with a distance made fathomable by visible benchmarks. But more frequently, especially in pursuit of less linear concepts like art, movement, inequality, and even paradigm shifts, time is mutable. and you can't project when completion will come. Good morning. I would like to adopt the protocol already established and bid a warm welcome from Hats and Heels. Please permit me to introduce you to Hats and Heels, Ms. Vionne Brooks and I, Jane Raymond Richardson, two women with one goal: to empower women. Along this journey, which started about 5 years ago, we realized it takes focused attention to accomplish something significant. In a world where it takes a person to go from idea to execution faster than ever, it creates an unrealistic expectation of success. We set off to launch a domestic violence hotline for women in the community who needed access to a safe haven where they can speak with professionals in a confidential and ethical way, but quickly realized that while it takes a trip to the store to purchase a guitar, it takes years of practice to master the craft. Vionne and I started this fundraising initiative to be able to implement and support a hotline that would be dedicated to supporting women in the community who are victims of domestic violence, gender-based violence, and the like. Through the implementation of the Board of S.A.F.E, Stop Abuse for Everyone, we have come a long way. Our journey has afforded us the opportunity to accomplish many goals. The implementation of the S.A.F.E Board, whose role is to oversee the implementation and development of the hotline. Our referral pathway is complete with key stakeholders, including Royal Angola Police Force, Social Development, Immigration, Health Authority, Red Cross, and the like. In December of 2020, as part of the 16 days of activism, we signed our Memorandum of Understanding with our key referral partners, and today we officially launched S.A.F.E. Hats and Heels is committed to continue to provide S.A.F.E with the financial support needed to ensure that the launch of this pilot program will always be in the community to support women. To this end, we are contributing an initial investment of 10,000 EC dollars. Today marks an extremely momentous occasion for Vionne and I. This incredible milestone we have chalked is something we are very proud of. We have accomplished the goal we set out to, and we are filled with nothing but awe, admiration, and pride when we think of this achievement. This is just the first step in our journey. We forge ahead with great confidence that there is so much more we need to do. We will continue to be the benefactor of S.A.F.E and continue hosting fundraising events. We are thankful for the many supporters, sponsors, organizations, community partners, and advocates that we are on this journey with. A warm thank you to our host sponsor for this press conference, Leon Malihana Aburge and the team. And we would also like to express our gratitude to the Department of Social Development and Gender Affairs Department of the Government of Angola, namely Dr. Bonnie Richardson Lake, Mrs. Hyacinth Bradley, Dr. Rania Foy Connor, Honorable Deanne Kent Rogers, Ms. Lorraine Gomes. Thank you all for your unwavering support. Our telecommunication partners, Flow and Digicel, you are instrumental in the long-term success of our hotline. We could not provide this platform without you. Thank you. To the Board of Directors of S.A.F.E, volunteers who share in our vision, Charlene Roach, Angelina Carty, Twyla Bradshaw, Clive Smith, and our new president, Gleneva Hodge. Thank you for your dedication, support, and commitment to S.A.F.E. We appreciate you. Thank you all for taking this journey with us.
Thank you so much, Miss Innovator. Just like so many women I know, if something needs to be done, you don't leave it up to anyone else to do it yourself. Up next, we have the second of this powerful duo, President of S.A.F.E, Miss Gleneva Hodge.
Good morning, everyone. Please allow me to adopt the protocol already established. It is my distinguished pleasure to bring you some remarks today as we launch the long-anticipated S.A.F.E hotline. I distinctly remember a number of years ago being part of a discussion at the residence of then Governor, Her Excellency Christina Scott, where Jade was sharing a story that would eventually become the catalyst for the formation of the Hats and Heels organization. Quickly recognizing the scope of the work to be done, to fulfill the goal of the establishment of a domestic violence hotline, S.A.F.E was conceptualized and an ad hoc board of interested community members and specialized professionals, all on a volunteer basis, was formed. Today, a number of these members are now official members of the board, still dutiful volunteers, and I would like to acknowledge them for their continued contributions. Immediate past President, Mrs. J. Raymond Richardson, who has graciously agreed to stay on as an ex officio member during our transition period. President, Dr. Rania Foy Connor. Treasurer, Mrs. Vayone Brooks. Secretary, Ms. Charlene Roach. Assistant Secretary, Mrs. Twyla Bradshaw Richardson. Our backbone members, Mrs. Angelina Carty, Mrs. Hyacinth Bradley, and the only gentleman among the ladies, Mr. Clive Smith. And our legal advisor to the board, Mrs. Latoya Hobbs-Norse. Charity, they say, begins at home. And so to you, I offer my gratitude. To be president of any organization can be a daunting task, but to be president of an organization that manages the National Domestic Violence Hotline has the potential to keep one up at night. But with the overwhelming support of my fellow board members who have dedicated the past few years to seeing this project become a reality, I am certain I'll be able to sleep somewhat easier. Once we had the board in place, we then had to get down to the nuts and bolts of this thing. How were we going to do this? Being employees of telecommunications provider Flow, Jade and Vayone were able to secure the physical headsets needed and worked by infinite magic for the behind-the-scenes infrastructural mechanics for the setting up of the actual number. They then went a step further and brought Digicel on board. The other communications companies are on board as a partner. This was huge. We had two major competitors coming together for the greater good of providing access to this service free of charge. To Flow and Digicel, we thank you for recognizing the value and importance of this initiative and for your continued invaluable support. So phones, check. Infrastructure to support the hotline, ensuring it works like a 911 call, check. But there was still plenty to be done before this hotline could be functional. In December of 2020, during the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, after many months of work and discussions, S.A.F.E signed a number of MOUs with integral referral partners, with a few more to be signed in the near future. These partners are the Royal Anguilla Police Force, PAVE Anguilla, Elios Family Center, the Anguilla Red Cross, Department of Social Development, the Gender Affairs Unit, Department of Education, Department of Immigration, and the Health Authority of Anguilla. It is clear that this must be a collaborative effort, and so we thank you all for coming on board as partners in this initiative. While many are aware of the hardships that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused, there were some moments of sheer ingenuity because of it. This S.A.F.E hotline is one such example. What we initially envisioned to be a domestic violence hotline has now evolved into a psychosocial hotline that provides support for all persons throughout our community facing any crisis in which support is needed. Our first responders are available 24 hours a day to provide support. I'd like to share a few facts for the general public about the S.A.F.E hotline. Please bear with me as I read them. 1, S.A.F.E is for everyone because everyone needs to feel secure, everyone needs support. S.A.F.E will always be here for you. There is no set time frame for using the crisis helpline for support. Whenever you need to call, you can. We have first responders available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because we understand that a crisis can happen at any time. 3, this can be the first step towards finding help. We understand it can be hard to cope with the trauma of crisis. Speaking to someone for a few minutes can help you be ready to begin your healing journey. 4, immediate relief. You may encounter a triggering situation or you do not know where to turn to seek support for a personal or family situation. SAFE can help. 5, you do not need to apologize. SAFE is a helpline resource available 24/7 for you. We will always have someone available to help or direct you, and you are welcome to call SAFE. 6, you can also call SAFE on behalf of someone else. We, the board of SAFE, would also like to say thank you to our dedicated first responders. It would be most remiss of me to leave here without specifically thanking Jade and Viola of Hats and Heels Foundation. We are here because you had a vision and have seen it through to completion. We are eternally grateful for all that you have done and continue to do, both personally and through your organization. On Sunday, Hats and Heels organization made a donation of 10,000 easy to SAFE and have pledged to remain a benefactor of SAFE. Somehow, thank you seems inadequate to express our gratitude to you both. Thank you to everyone for being here today, and I look forward to working with all of you to ensure that we not only have a successful launch, but a hotline and support services that are sustainable in the long term.
Thank you, Glenisa. Thank you for stepping up to the task of being the president for SAFE Hotline. So now moving forward, we have yet another powerful woman in our midst, the Honourable Deanne Kentish Rogers, Minister of Social Development, who will now deliver some brief remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I will keep my remarks very brief. The work that's been done by Viola and Jade reminded me of a quote from Roxane Gay from a book, Bad Feminist. It says, all too often when we see injustices, both great and small, we think, that's terrible, and then we do nothing. We say nothing, and we let other people fight their battles. In this instance, Jade and Viola decided to do something, to say something, and ensure that other persons were not fighting their battles alone. And that is something that gives me goosebumps. This moment is something that gives me goosebumps. So I want to congratulate, from the beginning, Jade and Viola in seeing the launch of the SAFE hotline to fruition. And I believe we cannot underestimate how momentous this occasion is. Angola will now have a free, and I say free, psychosocial support hotline for women who are the victims of domestic violence, for persons to reach out to give support to them. And while I say free, it's not really free. There has been toil, there has been sweat, there's been tears, there's been frustrations, there's been setbacks that have all brought us here. And there has been monetary contributions that has brought us here. But they have understood why it is so important for us to put this hotline in place. Just to give some background data, since the onset of the coronavirus pandemic in March 2020, the Royal Angola Police Force recorded an increase in domestic violence cases by 125%. Since the shutdown in 2020 for the year, the total increase percentage was 88%. Those are some stunning figures. And it makes it all the more important that we have the SAFE hotline available for those persons who need support. And they might need support outside of simply calling the police. Sometimes they need somebody to talk to, somebody to get things off their chest, a confidential source that they feel will help them and not judge them. So the timing of the launch of the SAFE hotline could not be better, honestly. And so on behalf of the government and the Ministry of Social Development and Education, I want to thank Jade and Vione and all the stakeholders, the new board of the SAFE hotline, the Royal Anguilla Police Force, the Department of Immigration, the Department of Social Development, the Department of Immigration, the Health Authority, Flow and Digicel for really stepping up to the plate. And it shows a commitment beyond the self to help others in a circumstance that's so intimately violating. So I believe that this moment is about Anguilla, ultimately, because we are trying to protect our own citizens. And thus, this is a contribution to national development and national safety. So I want to congratulate Hats and Heels, and all of the stakeholders who have made this moment possible for their contributions to Anguilla's national development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister Deanne Kent-Rogers, for showing your unwavering support, which was clearly echoed in the distinct remarks. I, for one, am comforted for the future of Anguilla, having educated, dedicated women like you in office. Up next is the Director of Red Cross, Ms. LaToya Scarborough. Hobbs Nurse, sorry, I wrote it on here and I forgot to cross it out. Hobbs Nurse, my apologies. She's representing a key partner stakeholder, sponsor of this initiative, SAFE. And I'm pleased to invite you to give your remarks at this time.
Good morning, everyone. Permit me to agree to the protocol already established. I am happy to be here this morning. Anguilla Red Cross has been an auxiliary to the government in secret for a very long time. And it's about time we begin to speak up and say, yes, we are in the room and we're happy that we are included in this momentous occasion. Anguilla Red Cross has been delivering relief, has been delivering a form of security for a very long time, for over a decade almost. But one thing that we have done and that we're happy to continue to do is to provide a hotline that will work alongside SAFE. That will help to continue the efforts that we have started with psychosocial support. We have a very dedicated volunteer, Hyacinth Bradley, who is charting the course for psychosocial support, because we know that especially in these trying times, it is critical. And so we want to applaud Jade and her team for this initiative, because it helps to crystallize that it's the journey of 1 mile begun with one step. And if we all take that one step together, we can go miles beyond where we know we can. And so I'm happy this morning that we can go beyond, because it could not happen before if we were not all together as one. And that is unity what we need, unity what we desire, unity which we require. And that's why I'm happy that Anguilla Red Cross can partner in this initiative. So I want to say thank you for allowing us to continue, and we continue to commit our services, commit ourselves to being available to respond when called upon. So thank you again for including us in this.
If I may apologize for my grave omission in not thanking the Anguilla Red Cross for the involvement. My apologies.
Thank you, Ms. LaToya Hobbs Nurse, for your remarks. And just to say, Red Cross in Anguilla have been very supportive of the initiative from the beginning of contact with them, and have been key players in the ministry's psychosocial support hotline. And as you will have heard from what she said, they're still very committed moving forward. Thank you. Next, we'd like to welcome Miss Roxanne Webster, Senior Marketing Executive for Digicel, one of the partner communications officer agencies.
A pleasant good morning to everyone. Allow me to turn up the protocol that has already been established. 4 years ago, Digicel made a commitment to join this partnership. In 2018, companies saw and identified with overall vision for this project, and we haven't looked back since. We immediately recognized the value of partnering with this very diligent team to ensure that the Angolan community would be able to contact a domestic violence hotline number freely and conveniently. In the initial stage, when we were approached, the team had suggested 3 short phrases for short codes: heal, hope, and safe. Luckily, SAFE was available for both telecommunication companies, thus we were able to support and partner with this worthy initiative. When I say luckily SAFE was available, I'm insisting that SAFE was possibly the best phrase for the short code. Consider my thoughts. When you think of calling a heal hotline, are you expecting immediate healing? Consider my thoughts. When you think about calling a hope hotline, are you hoping that someone will actually answer? My point exactly. The short code SAFE speaks for itself. It gives the public a sense of security and surety. When you call SAFE, know that when you feel in danger, you can count on SAFE. When you are worried about giving information for assistance, your data is confidential and secure. The word SAFE means to be protected from or not exposed to danger or risk, or not likely to be harmed or lost. Domestic abuse is a prevalent issue across the globe, and I would like to point out that this hotline in particular is an opportunity not only to safeguard women, but also children, men, and women. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Mrs. Jade Raymond Richardson and her team on their initiative to create this domestic violence hotline for Angola. I am certain that it has been a long and exhausting journey, yet a very worthy one. So I refer to this quote by Ralph Emerson: do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path to leave a trail. To the diligent, hard-working, extraordinary team at Digicel, former CEO Koshel, Colin Webster, IT Manager, and Woody Webster, Head of Business, thank you for your systematic support and assistance in turning the wheels to ensure that we achieve this partnership. To the Executive Board of SAFE, thank you for taking the journey with us. We will continue to empower the general public the best way we know how. As a woman, I understand that domestic violence is real, and more fundamentally, in this new partnership, we are 100% committed. Here are some promises that you can hold us to. 1, to have the SAFE platform ongoing. 2, Digicel will always be an advocate against domestic violence. And 3, to support SAFE in their future endeavors. Together, we can break the silence and bring a voice to domestic violence. With the combination of Digicel and SAFE, we are simply better together. Thank you.
Thank you. The excellent pitch at the end.
Borrow pitch me.
Thank you for your supportive promising remarks. And moving forward, this work is not about putting men down. We applaud good works and good men. With that being said, please help me to welcome the other partner agency head, country manager for Flow, Mr. Desron Bynum.
Good morning. Minister Candice Rogers, invited guests, again, good morning. As I was saying earlier today, I actually feel at this present time like an endangered species. looking around in the room, there are only two other gentlemen beside myself, and they are in different capacities than me. Okay, notwithstanding, we all should be very familiar, and Mrs. Hodge mentioned it this morning, that charity begins at home. So for us at Flow and Gorilla, it was a no-brainer when two of our colleagues had the vision for where we are today. Immediately we said yes, because like I said, it was a no-brainer. One, as a company, we try to engender an environment where we foster and allow our employees to develop and grow, not just professionally but personally. And this was one such initiative. The other element, obviously, is a benefit to the Anguillan community, and we are an Anguillan company, having been around for 49 years, and we would be celebrating our 50th anniversary in October of this year. So it was a definite no-brainer. The goal of S.A.F.E heavily aligns with our objective as a company in terms of our mission statement, which is to connect communities and transform lives. And I think this offering in and of itself is one of the greatest ways that you can transform lives. Oftentimes we overlook the ills of domestic violence, and it's not just women related, but also, children and men are abused. And you could imagine a man going to the police station to say, hey, my wife is beating the hell out of me. Highly unlikely. So S.A.F.E offers that avenue where, obviously they can outlet. But just so that the public is aware in terms of what our contribution was, the S.A.F.E number 7233 was actually created in one of our senior leaders meeting where Larry Stott was the one who actually came up with the short code 7233. So I must identify that's where the genesis of the number originated. The implementation of it, obviously, as was touted before, it's a toll-free number. So irrespective of what type of handset you use, whether prepaid or postpaid, it is completely free for the user, so we encourage persons to use it because obviously there is no financial impact to you. And one of the major benefits that we would have implemented on our side is that we have removed the element of tracking those numbers calling into the S.A.F.E hotline. So no one can pull a bill and see that Rania, for example, may have called. I'm not saying Rania or whatever called, but to say that she has called. So it creates this additional layer in terms of privacy that's required. It functions like many of the other speakers say as a 911 hotline. And essentially, we would have facilitated a number of other areas. Specifically, S.A.F.E board used my office as this. I would be told on many days, you need to leave today. You're going to be using your office. What can I say, right? But correct. See, they actually did more than I did. But the point I'm making is that as a company, we're committed to the Anguillan community, and that's not going to change. Like Digicel, we are very happy to be a part of this initiative. And I'm even more so elated that it was started by 2 employees of our company. There is a quote that my mother used to say. She used to say, "You cannot be except you are. The spark begins with you." And I think that they have created a spark, and the spark has obviously caught fire. It's the reason why we are here today, and I'm very, very grateful for the work that they have done. And in closing, I would just say, as the great Buddha, a great philosopher says, 1,000 candles can be lit by just one, but it doesn't diminish the flame or the worth of that one candle. So keep on in your candles, keep lighting it, please.
Thank you very much, Desiree. And I have to thank you for the sweets, they were nice. People might know I'm the sweet lady who's got sweets. Now, this has really got to be one of the first unions of supposedly rivals in the telecommunications market, working together, but it's for good, the good of the community and country they serve. This is social responsibility in action. Partnership balance is key in all works of life. You see what can happen when we work together. So let's give it up once again for Digicel. So I think now it's my turn to say something with regards to the objectives of S.A.F.E, and something you will have heard in some things that were said by others, but to help to give some further clarity to S.A.F.E. So as a member of S.A.F.E Executive Board, I'd like to take a few minutes to highlight the objectives of S.A.F.E Hotline. The hotline will service everyone in need of psychosocial support. Psychosocial support refers to the actions that address both psychological, mental, emotional, and social needs of individuals, families, and communities. It is on these grounds that S.A.F.E, though initially was intended to just supporting victims of domestic violence, S.A.F.E has now expanded its outreach to support anyone, any family in need of emotional and social well-being support. The Ministry of Social Development Education, since the inception of COVID-19, has been operating a professional, volunteer-based mental health and psychosocial support hotline. Some key factors that struck the first responders were: number one, persons experiencing domestic abuse were frequent callers. Two, mechanisms required for persons experiencing domestic violence could be limited. Three, persons were unaware of where to seek support for psycho-emotional needs. It was also noticed that possibly more persons could access support if one didn't need credit on their phone to call the hotline. After some discussion, a merger of S.A.F.E and the Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Hotline was quickly embraced. This understanding has enabled S.A.F.E 7233, our national psychosocial helpline, to be launched today. S.A.F.E will, among other objectives, establish a supportive mechanism to assist survivors and persons in need of emotional support crisis intervention, build individual knowledge, available services, referrals to agencies that provide legal, economic, self-sufficiency, sexual assault, elder abuse, children's and other related service, enhance networking among service providers, safety planning, advocate for the elimination of all types of violence and abuse. S.A.F.E relies on the principles of integrity, trust, confidentiality, anonymity, accurate and timely information. I'd also like to give the apologies of Hyacinth Bradley, who's not here at this time, unable to be with us, but definitely is in spirit and has been throughout the whole process, and she helped to put together the objectives that I've just read. So at this time marks the moment when we actually do the launch. And you will see that we have no unveiling. I need to get out of the way. On either side, we're flanked with our posters, which now launches S.A.F.E Stop Abuse for Everyone hotline, psychosocial support. Call toll-free S.A.F.E 7233, 24 hours. able to ask any questions, if there's any queries with regards to anything that may have been said here today with regards to SAFE. The floor is yours.
A question. I couldn't have noticed, Mrs. Harbner's, your opening statement that the Anguilla Red Cross has been a secret to government. And I laugh because Hudson Hills and SAFE has been promoted on social media, and I think that it would have been important if radio was included. I can't help but note that today was a press conference, but we don't have much of the media here. So while we may have seen a schedule, it was left at our discretion if we felt like coming. I thought it was important, hence I'm here. So, Glenniva, you gave the outline in terms of how persons can go about calling the hotline. I hope that you also include radio, come to us specifically, even the newspaper, and include those notes so members of the public can be aware of what to do. Okay, so I know we have the launch today. Is the number already activated if persons want to call tonight or today?
You can call right now.
You can call right now. Okay. Okay. Jade, you spoke about the investment you all made. Is there a need to have constant funding to keep the hotline going?
Yes. So, the reason why we've been having a fundraising initiative is like any other business that you're about to start, any venture that you're about to start, it requires financial support. And so basically that's what we've been doing over the last 5 years. And there are a number of things that require this, from the managing of the hotline as well as providing financial support for domestic violence victims. And so this is going to be an ongoing fundraising effort for us. We continue to reach out to the community in addition to support that we get from the government of Anguilla and like-minded organizations. Even today we invited a number of key organizations that have invested over the last 5 years, so namely Anguilla Social Security Board, Alliance Insurance, Leviticus, the Anguilla Tourist Board, Department of Youth and Culture, and on and on. There's quite a number of companies that have invested financially in us getting to this point and being able to make our initial investment of 10,000 EC. And this will be able to facilitate the pilot program, which will be initially started from today until the end of the year. We're hoping that by the time we reach the end of the year, we're able to raise more funding to continue to support the hotline.
So persons wish to get funding, where can they do that?
They can reach out to Hudson Hills through our Facebook page. They can also reach out to any members of the board of SAFE as well as through Gender Affairs.
Ethical and confidential, which words highlighted this morning. You mentioned that when persons call, the calls would not be traced, but would persons be allowed or would have to give their names when they call into a hotline?
No. Anthony, I'll let you take that.
No. People will call the hotline and give as much information as they feel readily available to give at that particular time. And it's one of the things that was noted with the previous hotline that we talked about, the psychosocial hotline. People would call and they could call and be anonymous at that point. We don't ask for it, they give it if they want to.
If you feel that the incident or the activity that night is necessary, is serious, do you call the police for them to intervene? How would you be able to probably send that information if you don't have the name of that person?
Sure. The number of the individual might come to us. And that's something that we could do. There's discussions with the police moving forward because we're in our first 6-month pilot stage to work out some of those things, but the police have assured us that they will connect us with their radio, I can't remember the exact terminology, transmitter, which would allow us to be able to link with that to send for assistance for that person if it was an emergency. We would also ask the person if they require us at that time to reach for assistance for them. So there's also an element of them taking responsibility and asking for that if they require.
How long is the situation is so that they may need to remove from the home? Is there a safe place for them to be able to sleep or to stay over at?
That is being developed, but there is something that's happening at the moment without speaking too much to it, because we're talking about keeping it safe for individuals, and we're small. So we don't want to give too much information with regards to that, but there are systems in place and developing to assist people.
Can I just interject to support my colleague? The collaboration between SAFE and other entities provides such avenues and pathways is because we realize we cannot do it alone, and therefore we need other persons and partners with that experience and that knowledge, and how do we make those linkages. So the MOUs that was signed during the 16 days of activism provides that. So partners such as the Department of Social Development and the Royal Anguilla Police Force, Health Authority, and other entities, including the Red Cross, assist along that way, because we realize the hotline is one step. It's an open door, but to continue the process, we need all other on board.
And if I may speak to that a bit, the hotline for the Red Cross has been operational since before the pandemic, and we have continued. And as a matter of fact, we have been able to shoulder some of the responsibility in relation to the receipt of the calls and the transferring of those very same calls to the relevant agencies, depending on the mental state of the person. Because at first what we do is we deliver to the victim to make sure that the victim is restored to where that person wants to be, and then we begin to carry it up the chain depending on what the victim wants. So what we are doing is being able to make sure that at the end of the day the individual is safe and the situation remains safe for everyone.
Is there a separation of duties between the board of Hats and Heels and the board of SAFE?
Yes. So hence why you would have noticed today there is two different presidents. Initially, when we would have reached out to volunteers to implement the board of SAFE, I sat as president of both entities. As we have developed and realized the need and the responsibilities that comes with SAFE, I actually went to the board and told them that we want to ensure that there's a clear, transparent line between Hats and Heels and SAFE, and that is why I have stepped down as the president and why Ms. Hodge is now the president. And eventually, throughout the pilot program, Vayon and I will officially leave the board at some time because we want, I know those two. I was saying it, I'm like, you're watching me. Right? Because we also understand that we want both the public to see that there is a transparent line between the two, and we are the supporting financial benefactor of SAFE, as well as we feel that we do not have the expertise needed to support the hotline in that fashion, right? We come from a telecommunication background, and while we are extremely pleased to be able to be along the journey, we see that there needs to be a separation of the two entities. And so over the next 6 months, there will be an even more clearer separation, providing I'm not murdered in the
Sorry, one more.
Yeah, I have a question about the answering of the phones during the pilot program, which I guess is 6 months, and then you'll, I guess, adjust. Volunteer, 24/7, that's a lot of woman power or man power to answer phones. So is there a volunteer, how are the phones being answered, one, the training, and two, are the phones being answered by people who are capable of speaking not only in English but in other languages?
Good question. If I may, so many parts to that question. In relation to people answering the phones, we have professional volunteers who are currently going to be manning the phones or personing the phones. I have to be careful with some of my language. In that they will be able to respond effectively because they have that background with regards to working with people who are in crisis from their various places, professions. We're not naming individuals because we also want them to be anonymous, which helps people to feel safer and comfortable in making contact. So they're known as first responders. In addition to them, we will be having other persons who have put themselves forward to do this work, who will be volunteers but who will be trained. And there's a training program that will be coming up before the end of the 6 months to bring them on board. So we will have a cadre of volunteers who will be able to meet the 24-hour 360, 64 in some years, right? Where it goes anyway. But you understand what I'm saying, round the clock, but they will be able to provide that support. Have I answered all your questions?
No. Language.
That was another one. In relation to language, not everybody who answers the call can speak. One of the other predominant languages in Anguilla being Spanish, but we do have a couple of people who are first responders, and where at all possible, we will look to make sure that those persons are able to continue that conversation with the person who's calling.
It's been operating since March, so we've had some time to see how it works. Just to mention that. The people who are now responding, picking up the phone for the hotline, will be the same first responders who have been working through the COVID pandemic. So they've been accustomed to this schedule since March of 2020. Thank you.
Seems like forever.
Sorry, before you start, there was another question you had?
Yes, just one question. The minister listed the data in terms of the 125% increase and so forth. I'm wondering if from your end, in terms of drafting the laws, can they be more severe? I know after someone calls and it goes to the police, that's out of your hands when it goes to the court level, the legal level. But I know sometimes, depending on the injuries of the victim, once there are no broken bones or anything, sometimes depending on the outcome, the offender may just pay a minimum of $2,000. And if you're a first-time offender, it probably could even be reduced. So I'm just wondering in terms of enacting the laws to make it tighter and to make it more severe, so this can protect us to some degree or get some positive outcome to it.
Yeah, we can definitely look at strengthening the legislation, but one of the difficulties when it comes to domestic violence cases is our victims or our survivors they don't continue throughout the process. So they usually come in, they may report something, and then it may happen that the person who they are involved with will come back and apologize. And so they'll pedal back and not continue the reporting, or they'll say they want to drop the case later, or they might just feel as though they're not being supported through the process and feel exposed and vulnerable, and then they might again pedal back. So it's about providing the support in that phase to make sure that they know that they will be supported, so that the case can continue in the court system. So this aspect of providing support here is important. It's important for women and men, whoever has been a victim of domestic violence, to know that they will have a community standing behind them, because it's very difficult to face a court system if you feel as though you're standing alone. So that's part of the outreach that S.A.F.E is doing. There is work to be done from the social development and education side. And one of the goals for the education side is for us to start teaching our young people, both men and women, about appropriate behaviors when it comes to domestic violence, because they would have seen, some young people might have seen behaviors, and they don't have anybody to talk to about what is appropriate and what isn't appropriate. So that's something that's coming on stream later. Thank you.
Sorry, I'll come back to you. We had a young lady at the back.
Just want to congratulate for you and Jade. I was a bit worried I didn't get Social Security mentioned.
but we were there at the beginning, and I'm sure the board past and present will be happy to know. See, this day we took a leap of faith in Jade and Viola when they came to us, and we now are seeing something concrete coming out of their vision. And we want to congratulate
Social Security in my...
I know it is.
Okay. Thank you.
I was wondering, is there any system whereby there's a screening for children who call in terms of age group? Is there?
Children, if children call into the hotline, children are protected by social development, social welfare departments, and so they will be immediately referred to that department. The hotline would not facilitate that, yeah.
And that's over 18, under 18?
Well, as the hotline says, it's for everyone. So we don't know if a child under 18 or someone, well, a child is under 18 by our laws anyway, but we don't know what the age is of a child until they call in, and they can. But as was pointed out already, the mandate of the Department of Social Development is to look after the well-being of children. So we would be looking at providing additional support for that child as and when they need it, if they actually tell us who they are as well. There's an element of that. Okay, so I can take it that we have exhausted questions from the floor. Thank you. So I will now hand over to Ms. Twyla Bradshaw Richardson, who will continue with our vote of thanks.
Good morning. This morning, we have all witnessed in its true sense the results of public-private partnership in national social development. The launch of a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week hotline would not and cannot be possible or sustained without this partnership. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the result of collaboration, cooperation, conviction, and definitely teamwork. It is on this premise that I must express thanks to the following. Firstly, the government of Anguilla, and especially the Ministry of Social Development and Education, under the leadership of Minister Diane Kentish-Rogers, along with Permanent Secretary Dr. Bonnie Richardson-Lake. Special mention to the Gender Affairs Unit Coordinator, Dr. Ronya Foy, who is mandated to address the ills of gender-based violence. Thank you. The volunteers and first responders for SAFE Psychosocial Hotline, and those who formally signed the partnership agreements, thus agreeing to serve as supporting arms by providing relief when someone is in crisis situation, namely Anguilla Red Cross, PAVE, Royal Anguilla Police Force, Health Authority of Anguilla, Departments of Immigration, Education and Social Development, and the Elias Center. We thank you. For those who believed in the duo's vision, the financial supporters from JUMP, Social Security, Alliance Insurance, Leviticus, thank you. A crisis can happen anytime, and knowing you are the helm of this initiative is comforting. To our telecommunication providers, what is a hotline without the line? Digicel and Flow, under the management of Ann Pauls and Desron Bino, a warm, heartfelt gratitude for 7233 and making this toll-free. To the media, thank you for your continuous support. It is extremely hard to cope with trauma and crisis. Promoting what is safe and informing persons of where you can turn to using your mediums is gratitude we must appreciate. Thank you for being our grapevine. The management of creative design, thank you for creating the visionary impact and bringing the meaning of SAFE in a pictorial form. We appreciate you. The management of Maliahana Leons for using the facility. We cannot thank you enough for accommodating us. At this moment, I would like to applaud the Hats and Heels Foundation founders, Jade Raymond Richardson and Yvonne. Vylon. This is when you don't use your government name. Okay? At this time, I ask you to stand. You ladies did it. This is your dream come true. Enjoy the moment. You actually did it.
Picture time.
Let's mix these and you just mix between them.
You want to separate?
Good.
Don't get the tears though.
Okay, Ms. Carter, okay, please. Thank you. One more.
And then over here. One more. Thank you.
Embrace the moment, ladies. Hard work and determination gets you places. President and members of the S.A.F.E Board, thank you for your governance and stewardship. Madam Chair, indeed you had led us gracefully through this morning's ceremony. We thank you for not only chairing today, but for wearing many hats, even burning the midnight oil to support the team to get us to this important milestone. We thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, invited guests, thank you for your presence and support. We have only just begun. As we close the ceremony, we embark towards the eradication of gender-based and domestic violence, the eradication of stigma as regards to seeking support for mental health, emotional and psychosocial well-being, the eradication of feeling fearful to call on someone when you feel low, when you just want to talk, when you need support and do not know where to turn. We actually have S.A.F.E. S.A.F.E is here 24/7. It's here. Toll free. Toll free.
So at this time, can I ask those persons who are at the table to, I'm not sure where the photographers would like them to take pictures.
I would say take a picture of Roxanne and Mr. Lionel.
While they're coming forward, I just want to reiterate something that was said from the floor to let people know that this service is and the support is available in Spanish. Okay?
Before you get up, could you put your bottles down so we could just pay in? And then. And smile. And then you turn on the camera.
Now Roxanne, to your left.
Mrs. Pauls will be with you. Mrs. Pauls is here, she'll be with you.
This one you have to put you for.
Yes.